Yo, it's me, Large Lenny again. I'm back with a proper video this time, and I've got another doozy to talk about here. Now, I will tell you before going into this that this was more fun to do than the previous video, you know, the one on Revy, but that's mainly because of how offensive some of the stuff these guys do here. I mean, there are literal instances where if they showed literally the next message in the conversation, your point would be shown to just be some baseless accusation. So anyway, in the past month there have been many accusations against Nominal from a lot of people. The goal of this video is to go through each one, explain what happened in each situation, and then show some of the stuff that was left out within the original accusations. When mentioning various people and incidents, I would like to keep in mind that I do not want anyone here mentioned to be harassed. All that I honestly want is just for them to answer some of the questions that I pose here, alright? But, you know, as always, when you ask them for this stuff, please say so in a nice way. Anyway, let's move on. First one. Alright, so the main half of these accusations around Nominal involve these various threats that he sent out to others, so in this part I'll be trying to go into a little bit of depth with each one. So via Twitlonger, Gal writes up an accusation in regards to Nominal and how he's a prick and an overall menace to society. Now this is quite strong rhetoric. I don't see that often, people being casually called menaces to society, so what did Nominal allegedly do to warrant such harsh, hurtful words to be thrown at him? Apparently, as GalXE says, Nominal got mad because he ended up leaving a mod team, resulting in Nominal throwing a bunch of insults at Gal, and from that telling him to die. Now, a few things about this initially. One, Gal comes right off the bat admitting that he's insanely biased, so keep that in mind with whatever he says. And two, there are some interesting contradictions that I would like to point out here. For example, Gal says that almost all this drama has been caused by him and some friends calling Nominal Snotty Boy 3 to 4 years ago. But even then, we know from a conversation that Gal and Nominal had 2 years ago that there's more to the story than that. That there are other factors here at play when Gal himself describes how he acts as being shitty to Nominal, and that Nominal's reasoning is perfectly acceptable, but it's just clingy. Obviously, the situation is not as petty as it originally claimed to be, and this is further backed up when Gal describes the friendship between the two of them as always been on and off, always ending and restarting for dumb reasons, always toxic, always terrible. Now this doesn't sound like someone describing a one-time thing causing this anymore. This sounds more like a persistent issue. And the question is, who typically causes these issues, and who better to ask than Gal? And the accusations he puts against Nominal via Twitlonger that were made only a month ago, he describes himself as not a good person, but not just that. We can go back to the conversation Gal and Nominal had 2 years ago to get some more details as well. Now, as I mentioned before, it's shown that Gal describes himself as, in all honesty, not being a good person, being shitty to Nominal and saying that Nominal's reasoning is perfectly acceptable, but he's clingy and keeps coming back. But there's more to that. He also describes himself as an unhealthy person, and he accepts that fact about himself, that he's pretty toxic and not as mature as his facade makes him look. And then to end it all off, he calls himself a know-it-all 15-year-old kid who is hypersensitive, emotionally abusive for the most part, and overall not a good person to be around. Now, this admission of guilt isn't just a one-time thing. Not only do we have the fact that, for example, 9 months after, Gal called himself still a toxic POS, but I like being like that because messing with people is funny, but also take this instance that occurred in February of 2020 in which Gal goes off on Nominal. This isn't to say that we ought to berate Gal for doing this, far from it, as all this stuff occurred like 2 years ago, but rather to again point out the toxicity of this friendship over those past years that they were, you know, quote-unquote friends. Now, putting this in context, do you think how Nominal reaction might be a little bit less inappropriate now? 4 years ago, Gal himself admitting that he was a nuisance to Nominal, of being emotionally abusive, a bad person as he himself says, finally broke the camel's back when Gal leaves the team and says that they'll have to pay him to get him back. Now, I'll give Gal the benefit of the doubt here and say that he didn't want to leave them on amicably, but with the way he says it, to be fair, he does agree with me that he should have worded it better. It comes across as though that he thinks that the mod is so awful that they'll have to pay him to stay on. And to be fair, considering that he charged a higher price, along with the fact that others on the team already weren't friendly with him, with he himself saying that he didn't enjoy the company of anybody on the mod team, and then add on top of that his before stated past toxicity and still present not being a good person qualities, and I don't think it's a far-reaching conclusion that him saying that they were going to have to pay him to stay was interpreted badly. Again, all of these way Gal describes Nominal, a prick and a menace to society, a temperamental, anger-prone child, coupled that with his admitted bias and the toxic friendship they've had for the past 4 years, and again, Nominal's reaction just seems like the climax to a series of awful events. So another one of the accusations, this time coming from Polyfield, is that Nominal sent multiple death threats over to Fire. But again, there's something very notable left out with both of the screenshots Fire sends over to Polyfield. In the doc, Nominal Dingus exposed, Fire shows a screenshot to Polyfield that ends with Nominal saying that the prison sentence he would get would be 100% worth it. And to be fair, when you in the DM the two of them had off like that, Nominal does look insane, I'll give you that. Yet for some very conspicuous reason, Fire leaves out the very next part, the part that then shows that the two of them are actually joking with one another, with Fire confirming that he does understand it's a joke when he says Lamal. Now the response to this may be, well, after that Nominal said he was going to steal their lives, but again, this is just the two of them joking around with one another, and it's confirmed that Fire does get that when he again types Lamal. He understands that Nominal isn't being serious here. Now, from recognizing that the two of them were joking around at the time, we can then extend that analysis to literally 7 minutes after the second screenshot Fire posts of their conversation. Now, besides the fact that I don't think Nominal literally has 32 bombs around Fire's house ready to go off any time, and I think that in itself should tell you how serious Nominal is being here, there's also the fact that, again, literally 7 minutes ago, Fire recognized that Nominal was joking around in the conversation that the two of them had. So, again, why did the screenshots that Fire showed to Polyfield cut off the one thing that would have completely changed how people saw the tone of this conversation that Fire and Nominal had? I mean, if Fire gets to joke around by calling Nominal a dipshit, I don't see why Nominal can't join him in making a few jokes as well, especially jokes that Fire understands are jokes. The third and final threat that Nominal sent, thrown out of nowhere at the end of the doc, is him getting mad at someone because his computer broke and then telling them to die. Now, I'm looking at the screenshot, and the first thing I noticed is that it was taken yesterday at 3:51 a.m., but yesterday of what day? I mean, the Nominal Dingus exposed Google Doc doesn't give an exact time of when it occurred, and based on the screenshot, it was back when Nominal used to go by Comical, so at the very least, it's 2 years old. I asked Nominal about when this might have occurred, and they said back either in 2018 or 2019 when they got a new computer, so around 3 to 4 years ago. This then begs the question, why is all of this old stuff back when Nominal was 14 or 15 being brought up in the first place? And one of the big points used against Nominal is that they hold these grudges from things done multiple years ago, yet here these accusers are bringing up conversations back in either 2019 or 2018 as a way to indict Nominal currently. Seems a little contradictory to me. Now for the other half of these accusations, the ones regarding that of alleged sexual comments that Nominal sent to various people. So what actually started this entire current situation was the Tumblr post Whacker made, and then the subsequent Twitter post linking to it, in which it is said that Nominal sexually harassed someone. From that, Whacker then goes in to show various screenshots of interactions between Seeso and Nominal. You can look over the screenshots Whacker shows, but at the end Seeso says that these screenshots basically explain the entire thing. Yet a few important interactions the two of them had are left out. 8 days prior to the first of these screenshots uses evidence against Nominal. Nominal asks Seeso during the two of them talking as to whether Nominal weirds Seeso out or not. Seeso responds, "Of course not, I don't mind it." Nominal then replies with, "Okay, good, I really don't want to make you uncomfortable. I know the way I act is a bit strange." At this point, Seeso responds back saying, "I get what you're saying, I don't think you're strange, you don't have to worry about it." Now, there have been some comments in response to the image that Nominal posted to respond to these accusations, in which they say that Seeso was responding in regards to his feeling like getting a hug, and not to the other more sexual jokes that Nominal then makes afterwards. First, is that the day prior to Nominal asking Seeso if he weirds him out, Seeso responds to a hug request. Nominal gives with a smirk emoji, and afterwards, joking with Nominal about it being definitely platonic. Not only does the build precedent for the conversation of Nominal asking Seeso if he weirded him out, thereby making Seeso's response of course not, I don't mind it, more important, but it also shows that initially Seeso was the one to make these kinds of jokes in the first place. Besides that, however, there are infinitely more juicier things that occur 8 or so days later, when Nominal then starts making these jokes that were used to accuse him of being a sexual harasser. In each of these instances, Seeso responds back telling Nominal, "Don't worry about it," or that it's fine. The most notable instance of this is when Nominal asks Seeso to call him his sweet little boy, please. Way more sexual than a hug, for example. And when I mean sexual, I mean in the sense that, like, the content of the joke is like that. And having occurred the day after Nominal makes a joke about how he wants Seeso to take that big D and F me, which matters because then when Nominal says that he's joking, Seeso responds back saying, "I know, don't worry about it, it's chill." Just a few messages later, when Nominal then apologizes for that sweet little boy please comment and asks Seeso if he wants him to stop making these kinds of jokes in general, Seeso then adds on to what he said previously, writing, "No, it's alright. Honestly, I don't mind it." And then to top it all off, of course, I'm not going to reply back with the same enthusiasm, "But you don't have to worry about me getting mad or anything." Now again, this was Seeso saying that he was cool with these kinds of jokes Nominal makes after Nominal's jokes on calling him a sweet little boy please and about taking that big D and effing me were said to him. Now immediately following this conversation, Nominal says to Seeso that you're gonna get the wrong idea one of these days, to which Seeso says that he highly doubts it and that he's not ready for any of that kind of stuff anyways. Now besides the fact that that's a bit of foreshadowing, again in just this one conversation, Nominal asks Seeso over and over again if he's cool with these kinds of jokes, and every single time Seeso responds back saying that that he's fine with these kinds of jokes, that he's not going to get mad from Nominal making them, and that again, that Nominal doesn't have to worry about Seeso getting the wrong idea one of these days. Hey Seeso, I just gotta ask, why didn't you show these screenshots? Why did you cut out the parts that show that Nominal is innocent? What the heck? It's kind of weird. Part of the Nominal Dingus Exposed document goes into the Mistake's experiences with Nominal, and then within that, the Mistake shows various screenshots of interactions the two of them had. Now, a few initial things about these screenshots. First is that all these interactions take place 1 or almost 2 years ago, with every screenshot except the first one taking place when Nominal was 16, the first one taking place when Nominal was 17, saw when Nominal was a minor. The second thing as well is the screenshots themselves. The second and the sixth one are literally just the same screenshot, just cropped differently. Some of the other screenshots the Mistake uses aren't even sexual, as he describes them. 2 of them are about Nominal being a person that gives out hugs, but there's nothing inherently sexual about a hug. I mean, have you ever hugged a buddy before, not because you had any sexual feelings for one another, but rather just because you were good friends? Also, one of the definitions of masochist is a person who takes pleasure in pain or suffering. So even then, using the word masochist isn't inherently sexual. Now, speaking on the rest of the other screenshots, it's very clear that throughout the 2 of them talking with one another, the Mistake does get that Nominal is joking throughout these various jokes that Nominal makes. For example, look at this comment originally included in the Nominal Dingus Exposed doc. Based on the way it's cut, you can see that it immediately ends at Nominal saying Lamau. I mean, it can be. What you don't see is that if just the rest of the context of that comment was shown, it's so obvious that Nominal wasn't actually being sexual, that he was joking around here, and then likewise the Mistake understood that. Literally right after the message was originally cropped, the part right after it can be, the Mistake responds with a flustered emoji, at which point the 2 of them play a game where Nominal says, just kidding, and then the Mistake replies with a sad emoji, then Nominal says unless, causing the Mistake to respond with a flustered emoji, this little game continuing for a bit. Take another example. This one, my absolute favorite, shown at the very beginning of Seeso's new doc called Nominal Dingus is Not Innocent. Here, it ends with Nominal saying, I love you so, I need to stop, I'm so sorry. Literally, the next message the Mistake sends, it's him joking about canceling Nominal Dingus, how he's going to take this message out of context and use it as a way to show that Nominal is a pedophile. After he then makes a joking hashtag about the Nominal's over party, they literally move on talking about epic rap battle videos, because both of them recognize that they were joking with one another. Another example of screenshot snipping that should be considered offensive, this EA Sports message. The official version shown by Seeso and others ends at Nominal saying, take me now. The message right after that is the Mistake responding with an emoji playing along with the joke, before he then calls Nominal a poo man, and they then go into another joke. Also, it should be noted that the joke is literally a continuation of the same EA Sports joke that the 2 of them made the day before. No, look, I can't go into every single out-of-context screenshot that they use against Nominal and then show how if you add just a little bit more context, surprise, surprise, Nominal isn't some big bad pedophile. I don't want to make this video longer than it already is, but what I can do is show you a few examples to illustrate how blatant the screenshot cutting they do is. If you want to look at the greater context of the rest of these comments Nominal sends over to the Mistake, then you can look at the evidence for that's going to be in the description. Anyway, going back onto the doc Nominal Dingus Exposed, the Mistake then adds this at the end of the section in the doc. I have been told by one of my friends, who will not name, that it's just a way of showing affection in a joking manner. The fact that this has happened on multiple occasions doesn't make it a joke. It isn't affection when it's strange and non-consensual. It just isn't right. His response to the argument doesn't logically make sense. If you tell a type of joke multiple times, that doesn't mean that it stops being a joke. It just means that it becomes one that's repeated. Also, the part about how the jokes Nominal made were strange and non-consensual. As I just showed while Nominal was saying them, the Mistake knew that Nominal was telling jokes and found them funny and even went along with them. One final note on jokes as a whole: when people say stuff, for example, like I'm inside your walls, or there's a pipe bomb in your mailbox, they're not literally threatening the person or saying that they want to hurt them. They're saying this stuff because they find it funny and as such joke around with these topics. Context is always key, and when Seeso and others leave crucial parts of the story out, it only raises my suspicion in all of this. Written as an update to the original Tumblr post, Whacker shows a screenshot in which Avery talks about their experience with Nominal and how Nominal hired them to work on 4 Fracture sprites. However, when they started working on them, Nominal apparently replaced Ava and then also tried playing with Ava's feelings. First part about the 4 Fracture sprites is because Nominal was told that Ava was feeling burnt out and didn't want to do the sprites. The second part, however, is much more interesting. Nominal trying to play with Ava's feelings was Ava coming onto Nominal, and then as he felt uncomfortable about it, tried to play it off. Now, I wouldn't consider this playing with someone's feelings, more so just that Nominal, like everybody else, doesn't know how to respond when somebody confesses their love to them. Now, as well, I don't know how this managed to be used as a point against Nominal, especially since Ava tries to come onto Nominal a second time right after realizing that Nominal doesn't feel the same way that Ava does about Nominal. But again, all this is just Nominal being uncomfortable and not knowing how to respond, like everybody else in the universe. This accusation happened quite a while after all the other original ones, with the Twitter thread containing this claim being done 2.5 weeks after the Tumblr post, but still, it should be covered here. Rageminer's claims were that Nominal gaslighted him into believing that they were friends, having Nominal ask Rageminer to apparently defend himself as well as sending over not safe for work photos of Nominal's Sona over to Rageminer and being passive aggressive when Rageminer asked Nominal for FOP. Now for the first part, Nominal actually thought that he was friends with Rageminer, and this wasn't meant to be some form of advanced gaslighting. They had played various video games with Nominal before, such as Gary's Mod and Team Fortress 2, where in the latter game Rageminer joined a server just because Nominal was in it. For the accusations that Nominal wanted Rageminer to defend him, the Discord log Rageminer shows has Nominal literally saying that when those people release that doc about me, will you help me through it? This isn't asking for Rageminer to make some Twitter thread of evil doc in favor of Nominal. It's just asking Rageminer to help be emotional support for all the turmoil. Nominal knew he was about to be headed his way. Now for the not safe for work photos, this is very much like the situation between TheMistake and Nominal, or between Fire and Nominal, or between Seeso and Nominal, just like any of those, where the person who makes these accusations against Nominal cuts off the screenshots in a very conspicuous way. In Fire's situation, it was right before Fire himself recognizes that Nominal is making a joke. In Rageminer's situation, it's right before he asks Nominal why he included the image, in which he responds complete accident, which is making me a little worried. Which after some further clarification on what the image is, Rageminer says, oh huh, goofy stuff then, what's even the original image? Considering that Rageminer understood that he didn't intentionally do this, with Nominal saying, yeah, just enjoy that, bud, because he was joking around and didn't even know the image was there, properly explaining himself afterwards when asked by Rageminer. For those that worry about the age difference in this scenario, it should be noted that Rageminer's Twitter profile states that they were born on March the 20th, 2003, so that would have made them 19 during this time. For the final part about Nominal being passive aggressive, again, there is some very conspicuous screenshot cutting that's occurred. Literally the message right before Rageminer's own screenshot starts, Nominal responds to Rageminer's hello with, alright, what do you need this time? Showing that this is a persistent issue of Rageminer asking Nominal to do stuff for him. Posted on Twitter by Seeso, he talks about an anonymous person receiving various messages from Nominal in which he makes very sexual comments towards someone. Alongside that, a voice clip, as well as a personal account from the anonymous person, is posted within the thread. Within the person's account of their experience with Nominal, they talk about how after Nominal asked for their age, he started getting sexual out of nowhere, asking for photos and other things. Overall, their main point is that he's a quote-unquote manipulative person. Now, within this personal account, a few important details and truths are twisted. Some important things that come to mind weren't mentioned were the relationship between the two of them. This anonymous person was actually Nominal's ex-GF, Bella, who goes by Clixtry. When they originally met, Bella told Nominal that she was 15, and Nominal, being 16 at the time, thought that was the case. When he eventually turned 17 and started dating Bella, he thought that because of the fact that the age difference between the two of them was only 2 years, that their relationship would be considered fine and wouldn't be pedophilia, for example. This was what was thought until on the 23rd of February, only a few weeks after Nominal had turned 17, Bella revealed to him that she was actually 13 and not 15 as she originally claimed to be. Learning the truth and wanting to leave the relationship, Nominal was emotionally manipulated by Bella into staying with her, immediately starting off her message saying how she lied because she wanted to be with him, how she loved Nominal, and that she hoped that this wouldn't hurt her relationship with him, including as well a Google image on how it's not illegal for a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old to date. Nominal, initially cautious like any person would be, doesn't like the fact that Bella lied about her age, yet Bella continues to try and keep their relationship together by saying that her parents' age difference is 7 years old, and then again emotionally manipulates Nominal by saying that he can block her, but then adds at the end that she's already cried about it. From that point on, any chance in which Nominal tries to leave the relationship, Bella continues to emotionally manipulate him and encourage him to do this stuff, saying every time he makes clear the fact that he's uncomfortable with this stuff, that he isn't a pervert, that she doesn't want him to worry about this, that he's doing nothing bad because you literally aren't, that she loves him and that he's a sweet boyfriend. As well as that, contrary to what Bella says in her personal account, it was not Nominal that asked Bella for lewd photos, rather it was her that forced them on Nominal, emotionally manipulating him whenever he says that he felt uncomfortable with these images by saying that she's fine with doing this, that she's not comfortable with it, and that Nominal isn't a pervert. Likewise, the same thing could be said with that of the voice clip that was in Seeso's thread. Bella was the first to initially send over a voice clip, with her afterwards then sending over more when Nominal sent his. Eventually, after dealing with all this emotional abuse, Nominal decides to step up and end the relationship between the two of them. What should have been seen as that of the manipulated finally breaking free from their chains is instead painted as that of Nominal being some sexual abuser. Contrary to what Bella says, Nominal was not the one with the predatory behavior, rather it was her that kept emotionally abusing him to stay with her. So 3 days after the Tumblr post and then the Twitter post linking to it, Brodo quote tweets it and then shares the experience they've had with Nominal as well as others' experiences with Nominal. There's a lot here, so I'm going to go through it post by post, but one thing should be noted before I do. Brodo's evidence of this stuff occurring is just Brodo screenshotting themselves saying this stuff to others in a group chat, so it's not like the evidence they've provided here is of high quality. Anyway, moving on now, with the first image in this post, there's nothing flirty or sexual with a hug. I think this was already mentioned before, but have you ever given like a friend of yours a hug before? Like you didn't have any sexual feelings towards them, and even then, if you didn't like receiving hugs, you could have just told Nominal and he would have stopped. With the second image going over the voice acting Nominal did, he asked to be imagined in Full Refraction, but to be fair, that's literally his song. I don't see how that would make Nominal entitled. For the other two, Spamton and Black Imposter, he was offered the opportunity by Brodo to voice act those two characters. It should also be noted that Nominal reciprocated this as well, asking Brodo if they wanted to do lyrics for some songs Nominal had made. On Nominal asking Brodo to promote his songs, he apologized to Brodo for doing that, and even went so far as to stop asking Brodo to promote his stuff at all, because of how much he wanted to fix the situation in the first place. About Nominal's response to the criticism Brodo offered, Nominal acted that way because he thought that Brodo had their own private artist that could be commissioned for the work Brodo wanted, and afterwards, due to this misunderstanding, he apologized to Brodo afterwards. At the end of the screenshot to this post, Brodo talks about Nominal being weird to Ava. Again, this was already talked about earlier, but this weirdness is him not knowing, like 99.9% of other people in the universe, what to do when someone out of nowhere says that they're actually falling in love with you. This post on Seeso, again, like the last post, I already talked about the subject, but I'll repeat what I said. 13 years prior to this particular screenshot, Seeso said to Nominal that he doesn't weird him out, that he doesn't think that Nominal is strange, and that he doesn't have to worry about it. So with that in mind, Nominal is making these jokes knowing that Seeso was cool with him. Also, as I said during the Seeso part that I talked about, he says like even like during the like the super serious jokes, right? Not just a hug. That's the point they want to make. He even there is saying over and over and over again that it's not an issue, that Nominal doesn't have to worry about it. So yeah, Seeso fucking understood this shit. Nominal here asking Brodo if he was ever mean to them at any point is interpreted by Brodo as Nominal saying that he doesn't know what he did wrong, but it seems more to me as indicated by literally what Nominal says afterwards, that Nominal is saying all this because he wants to make sure that there's no remaining tension between the two of them, that he doesn't want you to feel bad about anything, that if he did so then he's really sorry about anything he did that unknowingly hurt you. Also, what's funny about this is that Brodo doesn't show the response to what Nominal says, that being, well, there's times where you say some hurtful things, but I know you're not intentionally trying to hurt me. I forgive you and I know you genuinely want to improve upon yourself, which is a good thing. And on top of that, when Nominal then says to Brodo that if I upset you or anything, please just tell me, Brodo responds back with, alright, I'll be more open with you. Obviously based on the fact that Brodo made this thread, they went back on their promise. Speaking of interesting messages between Brodo and Nominal that were left out, look at this conversation that occurred on the 25th of June, in which Brodo and Nominal talk about the Nominal Dingus exposed doc that was currently in the works at the time. What's interesting about this conversation is some of the comments Brodo makes. People try to use that doc to say you're cancerable when it's someone's personal experience with you. That doesn't make sense to me. And then one of the best comments I've ever seen in my entire life. I really do think, despite the mistakes you used to make, your career and stuff will be fine for the foreseeable future. Again, the fact that I have to make this video proves that what Brodo said obviously wasn't the case. Anyway, going back into the thread, the first image of the next post by Brodo is an interaction Nominal has with some unknown person on the 19th of March, in which they call them cute. Again, this is a recurring theme with almost every one of these accusations against Nominal, and especially in this one when the unknown person says, no worries, thanks for the compliment. But how is Nominal supposed to know that you're not okay with these types of jokes if you don't tell him? With the second image as well, this is supposed to show that Nominal goes off on a person, but this is just him clarifying a situation that would have drastic consequences if not properly resolved. In the screenshots that's used, Nominal doesn't insult the person or call them any names. He instead just explains himself to the person that's asking. From the next post in the thread, it's about Nominal making uncomfortable remarks in voice chats and fan dubs to people. Again, you would think that Nominal being in a chat with a bunch of people, one of them would have remarked about how they felt uncomfortable about it to him. But again, how is Nominal supposed to know that you're not okay with the jokes he makes if you don't tell him that? Now, the final post here in this thread Brodo made actually contains some of the greatest points I wanted to make here. Now, there's this part about Nominal lying about being autistic to his closest friends, but that was literally just him and Will joking around with one another. Nominal thought it was all in good fun, which again, if Will goes along with this stuff and never tells Nominal that he doesn't like these kinds of jokes, how is Nominal supposed to know? Now, the second part of this post was going to originally go over the fact that there's a discrepancy between what Brodo says and what this very notable person says. Brodo says that Nominal said the R word, but the person in the screenshot says that Nominal nearly said it. This is what I was going to talk about here until I noticed something. Hey, this profile picture looks kind of familiar. So I spent a few minutes looking around trying to figure out who this person was, and then it suddenly hit me, hey, this is JesterFrog. the JesterFrog that manipulated a 14-year-old girl into sending nudes, the JesterFrog that refused to delete those nudes of said 14-year-old girl, the JesterFrog that had, along with the friends they had, engaged in victim blaming. Now I gotta ask what's going on here. You throw around these accusations willy-nilly at people like Nominal or Revi that they're sexual harassers and groomers and manipulators, but here you are actually hanging out with someone that is legitimately a groomer that did actually groom and manipulate a 14-year-old so as to get nude photos. And by the way, this conversation Brodo has with JesterFrog isn't before they got revealed as being evil. JesterFrog uses a screenshot of Nominal from the 31st of May. The document revealing that JesterFrog is a groomer came out on the 21st of April, and considering the fact that the screenshot says that it came from the day before Brodo screenshotted it, I wouldn't be surprised if this interaction they had with JesterFrog occurred in July. Adding on to this section, though not strictly related to the thread, Brodo and others involved in this situation have repeatedly said that after the accusations came out, that Nominal blocked all of them from contacting him, but in reality it's the exact opposite. When the accusations came out, Nominal ended up getting blocked by people like Brodo or unfriended by people like Will, which still, though, unfriending isn't like, blocking, it still makes it more difficult to contact somebody. And to be fair, you're not going to really understand the nuance and the difference between the two when literally everybody else is blocking you. So, if somebody unfriends you, you just assume, oh, well, that person blocked me, right? Thus, because of all of this blocking, he wasn't able to contact them and try and resolve the situation. Hey, so I just wanted to make this little, kind of quick note here, because I don't really think this stuff was talked about, but, whenever false accusations spread regarding someone being a pedophile, everybody starts to talk about that, which is immediately seen. The mod teams, the person accused gets kicked out of, the lost followers, the original characters, they now have their ownership transferred. Everybody talks about this constantly, and to be fair, they are part of what happens when somebody gets accused. I won't deny that they play some importance. Yet, it seems as though that everybody forgets the unseen, that which is not directly shown, though, in every instance of false accusations, always happens. When you get falsely accused of pedophilia, of being a manipulator and groomer, it's not just these little things of mod teams and original characters, it's about how all of this affects how you are as a whole. Over time, being constantly called a pedophile, of being told that if you were to end your life, the world would be a better place, that you're a manipulative piece of garbage that loves to groom children, it would affect anybody. And when you're told all of this day after day after day, even though none of it is true, it starts to get to you. Not only does your personality alter for the worse, but it makes you consider doing terrible things to yourself that you wouldn't have thought of were not for all of the false accusations put against you. And say that all this turns out well, that the accusations are proven false and everybody realizes that the person accused is actually innocent, well, it's not as though you can just take back the effects of being called a pedophile and being told to stop living every day. This isn't just about Nominal or Revi or Infinite, for example, but just in regards to anybody who's ever been falsely accused of being a terrible person before. So I just want to end this video off with an excellent, though a bit hypocritical Twitter thread Com giving me a month ago. Now I know he says that it wasn't made with any specific event in mind, and that he's been thinking about it for a while now, but still there are some great points Com Gaming makes that I want to repeat here in this video. The EXE community has a major issue with a ton of stuff that needs to be addressed at some point by somebody, or it's never going to end a thread. The EXE community has a really annoying way of how it handles the bad apples. There are many things in this community that could have been talked about in DMs, but instead it's in docs. And most of the time people think it's over something major. But I am starting to see time and time again that people use the doc over stupid and unnecessary stuff that could have just been talked about privately. But instead this person might be cancelled that might even just be innocent just because it's in a exposure doc. It doesn't help people are really starting to take this less and less seriously with writing fake docs as jokes, scaring people because it's someone they know getting cancelled. But no, it's just some dumb joke, like, it's so stupid. A few posts later in this thread, Com Gaming talks about how canceled people are handled. Even the people who aren't supporters can be some of the most annoying people. Stuff like, you follow, insert canceled person here, kinda sus. Like, no, stop. 9 times out of 10, that person doesn't know what the heck is happening. Sometimes it feels like you gotta be in Birdwatch for canceled people so you can get the 0.000001 time speedrun and how fast you can unfollow and block someone. I'm not even going to touch on the supporters because that's self-explanatory. A lot of the time when someone is canceled, people also do this thing I like to call the hidden hater. I never liked insert person, or I never liked insert EXE name. Like, yes, you did. You made art about them 2 weeks ago that you just deleted to prove a point. Like, you're not proving proving anything, you're just being dumb. Remember when people would draw interactions with other EXEs? It felt like a community, a celebration that stuff is still holding up. Do we still get that? I'm not going to say no, but I am going to say it's rare. Nowadays, it feels like everyone is at each other's throats. People don't feel welcomed. They feel like they need to prove something to people. It's getting bad. You know how much I hear the EXE community is eating itself up? I don't want to hear it at all, but at this point, it's starting to be true. That's not a good thing. I really hope things change for the better, man. I really do. Me too. Links to my evidence will be in the description. If you think that what I said was convincing, then consider sharing this video around. Thank you for watching.
I honestly don't understand your logic sometimes. Like, some things are allowed, but then other things aren't. Like, I made death threats, quotation marks. I made death threats to some people, which weren't even that bad. One of them was literally just a joke, and the other one really wasn't that bad. But then, like, all of this crap happens, and I literally see people on Twitter saying, oh, blocking isn't enough, I want them dead, and stuff like that. And, you know, you guys, you did mean that. You did say that with malicious intent. Someone even posted an image saying blocking them isn't enough for something. I need to, like, escort them to hell myself or something like that. It's stuff like that. And then, like, you say that crap, but then get mad at me for making what should have been just jokes. And I know some of them weren't jokes, because I did say some stuff that I didn't mean, but a majority of what was said I didn't mean. Most of what I said was just meant as a joke. It was just meant as jokes. They were meant to be jokes, and that's it. But people decided, you know what, I didn't like these kinds of jokes anymore. I'm just going to screenshot these and send them on. And one thing I don't like is that every single time I try to, like, especially on Twitter now, I'm trying to, like, get people to send proof of Revy being bad, right? I'm just trying to have a civil discussion, trying to be all like, okay, if you have personal experiences with Revy showing that, you know, she isn't innocent, that she still did bad things, if you could send that, then that would be great. But then I don't get any kind of evidence. I don't get screenshots. I don't get any of that. All I get are people being mad, people saying, oh, I trusted you. It's like, wow, okay, thanks. I'm glad you trusted me. I don't care, though. You're not giving me any proof that what Revy did was bad. You're not giving me any crap that... You're not, like, giving me the proof that I want. You're saying that you have people who were personally affected. You're saying that, you know, Revy made people feel like crap. Revy did this, Revy did that. Can you send screenshots? And it's not even... I don't believe you don't have screenshots. I want to believe that you do. Like, that's what I'm hoping for. It's kind of like... Though I just realized I'm not muted on Discord. That's kind of the whole reason that it's kind of like the whole reason that I made the Twitter posts. That's the whole reason I made the Twitter posts. I wanted people to, like, give me screenshots of their own experiences with Revy to see, you know, I wanted to make sure that what we're saying isn't false. I want to make sure that we're not just defending this person and they actually did do bad things. Like, I want proof that they did do bad things. I want to be proven wrong. But you're not giving me any of that evidence. You're just sending hate, and that's it. You're just saying, I can't believe you did this. Oh, like, if you're bad, and then you insult me and crap like that. I don't understand why you do that and don't just send evidence. Like, and some of you say, oh, you don't deserve the evidence. Okay, then you don't deserve to talk crap on us. Like, you're literally just proving our point. We have evidence that Revy, you know, was framed about crap. And I have personal experiences with Revy. They weren't that good. But I'm not gonna like use that. Like, I'm not gonna have that be a reason as to why she, like, I'm not gonna use that as a reason to not defend her, because because I've seen the evidence, and I've seen the screenshots, and I've seen the proof, and I know for a fact that she isn't that bad of a person when it comes to certain things. She did do bad things. I'll believe that. She may have messed up a few times. I'm not saying she didn't. Everyone messes up. But the fact that you guys are so just so persistent and so like insisting on that she's a horrible person. She's just a freaking demon hell incarnate. Like, you guys are so persistent, but then you don't send us any screenshots of your own personal experiences. Like, you're trying to use those personal experiences, trying to use the fact that there were people who were personally affected. You're trying to use that as your basis, but then you don't send any screenshots of that happening. So, like, what are you trying to prove then? What is it? I don't understand. Whatever. Give us proof, bro. Like, it's not like I don't want to be proven right. I want to be proven wrong at this point. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I want just evidence. I want to see if you really are right. And if you are, then I'll apologize. I'll change my views, whatever. I'm literally trying to keep an open mind. I'm trying to like be open to suggestions. I'm trying to say, like, if someone were to like DM me, hey, here's some screenshots of Revy doing this stuff, and then like they have a civil discussion with me, explaining what's going on. All right, I see that Revy did that crap. Like, okay, we'll take that into account. We're gonna make sure that, you know, that this is dealt with. But if it's like, if they send screenshots, and if they send screenshots of like proof of like that what Lenny said about Revy isn't true, like the fact that she's innocent and how she was framed, if they send information that's debunking Lenny's debunking, then that's okay. Now we know, but they're not sending anything. They're not sending any evidence, calling us dick writers. Bro, you're right burst dick writers, bro. You're just going with everything that guy says. So what is this? Calling us dick writers, you're dick writing him harder than we're dick writing anyone else. So what's your fucking point then? I'm sorry. I'll go.